A commitment to transparency and accountability. That is the message of Home Forward's new interim director.
Home Forward is Portland's housing authority and owns thousands of affordable housing units across Multnomah County, in addition to providing rental assistance.
Fox 12 investigative reporter Adrian Thomas has been tracking ongoing issues with Home Forward and joins us in studio with the story.
After Home Forward's executive director resigned earlier this month amid public scrutiny about her travel spending and high rates of vacant affordable housing units, an interim director was appointed by the agency's board and began work today. Hours into his first day, he took questions from local reporters about how he plans to, quote, stabilize the agency. We also asked him about housing discrimination complaints against Home Forward we recently uncovered.
Trust has been damaged and there's work to be done. Some of that work starts happening by decisions that get made early on, but I also recognize that trust takes time, and I'm committed to, sort of staying that course with folks.
Home Forward's interim executive director Michael Buonocore wasting no time stressing that changes are coming to Portland and Multnomah County's housing authority. Buonocore previously led the agency from 2014 to 2022 as executive director and most recently served as interim director of the Portland Housing Bureau. He laid out his priorities Monday as he takes over the embattled agency.
Increasing occupancy and decreasing turnover times in the housing portfolio, increasing the pace of voucher lease-up, addressing safety and security issues, as well as working with senior management, union leadership, and staff across the organization to increase communication and engagement around problem solving.
Among other priorities, Buonocore said he and other executive leadership will be taking salary cuts and closely examining Home Forward's finances as a whole. We also asked Buonocore to respond to recent housing civil rights complaints Fox 12 uncovered about Home Forward's properties and programs. These complaints were investigated by Oregon's Bureau of Labor and Industries, or BOLI, with one investigation finding a local disabled woman was treated in a discriminatory way by both Home Forward and Multnomah County's Homeless Services Department, which is a source of some of Home Forward's funding.
We have to be fully accountable and transparent with our regulators and acknowledge if we've made mistakes. It's important to not take a defensive posture, but to just ask the question of, are there things that we should have done differently?
And Buonocore says he will hold the interim executive director role for 9 months while a nationwide search is conducted to find Home Forward a permanent director. In studio, Adrian Thomas, Fox 12 Oregon.